T. Hey, we're Alan.
I'll get with you.
All right, it is 5 o'clock. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get started on our work session for next. Hello. All right, thank you. Get started for next week's council meeting. First item is approval of minutes, July 8th, 2024, 5 p.m. council work session, July 15th, 2024, 9:30 a.m. council work session, July 15th, 2024, 10 a.m. council meeting. Any questions? All right, next is set public hearings, resolution 24-151, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 718 Cashin Street Northwest, set public hearing for Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Josh?
Yes, we've had this one for, I don't know, a year and a half. Unsafe conditions, a tree fell on the house, hadn't been maintained, nothing's been done. So we just request your approval to move forward.
And this is just setting the hearing for September. All right, any questions? Resolution 24-152, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 2913 Leesdale Avenue Southwest.
Yeah, this was a joint effort with community development and animal control. Due to unsanitary conditions, the house was condemned. No action's been taken. This has been going on since 2020.
Okay. Any questions? Those are just setting public hearings. Then public hearings, Resolution 24095, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 425 Vine Street Northwest. Public hearing was tabled to August 5th, 2024.
Yeah, we've received nothing from the property owner this time.
Okay. Any conversation or anything?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
Is that the store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've heard nothing.
We've heard nothing. I mean, hasn't been a business there in 27 years. How the building was condemned in 2009. Nothing's happened. We also have money owed to us for a demo of a rental property. This individual owns $13,000. Also, just under $600 weed abatements owed to the city as well.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, appeals, Resolution 24153, approved Decatur Morgan EMS penalty 24001 for not meeting first quarter fractal response times.
Yes, first quarter of this year, Decatur Morgan's fractal response time in the PJ was 82%. They were assessed a $5,000 penalty and 5 points, and they've appealed that at the hearing. You'll have the opportunity to uphold it, modify it, or overturn it.
We had one other very early on of Decatur Morgan handling this, and we overturned it, I believe. Do you remember when that was by chance? And you don't.
It was within
Years.
the first 6 months or so. It was while they were still trying to get up to speed with I think actually it was right as first response left, and so they got shorthanded.
Is it easy to find the actual council meeting where we did that? I was trying to find it and couldn't. Yes.
Definitely.
I need to go back and reread comments that I probably made to make sure I'm consistent. If you can let me know. I think I probably said this is the last time I would vote to overturn.
You did.
Okay, well, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Okay, any other questions on that? All right, thanks, Chip.
Sure.
Resolutions, Resolution 24154, approves special use permit extension for Tillman Infrastructure to construct a new wireless telecommunication tower for AT&T at Runnymede Avenue Southwest.
Good afternoon, President, Council. David Andrews with CMS. This extension is for the new tower that was approved for AT&T at Runnymede Avenue. As you remember, they were going through a historical process in conjunction with the approval. The historical process is still ongoing. They hadn't resolved that. They're asking for an extension for 180 days to resolve the historical issues, and if everything's good, they will construct a tower. If it turns out that they can't construct a tower, then they will trash the project. So they're asking for an extension. CMS has reviewed the request and recommends approval.
Okay, any questions? Resolution 24155, declare surplus of vehicles no longer used by Street and Environmental Services Department.
Good evening, Jeremy Sherrill with Procurement. This is a list of 4 vehicles no longer used by our department, and this is a request so that we can surplus and auction those off.
All right, any questions? Resolution 24156, award bid number 24021 for grave opening and closing to Osborne Grave Service, being the lone respondent.
Yes, this is an annual contract renewal. Invitation was issued on June 20. We opened on July 9. We sent directly to 21 vendors, 1 response, which has been the case since 2014, which is Osborne, and so we're recommending an award to them again.
All right, any questions? Resolution 24157, award bid number 24022 for top dress bunker sand to Alliance Sand, being the lowest responsible bidder.
Yes, sir. Another contract renewal issued on the 20th of June, opened on July 9. We received 3 submissions, and we are recommending Alliance as the lowest responsible bidder.
All right, any questions? All right, Resolution 24158, approval to replace HVAC unit at Aquadome Gym.
Yes, thank you, Council. This is to replace, I know there's been several, this is to replace one that actually does the gym area itself, it's a big basketball area. One of the things I did want to make Council aware of is with all the units we've put on that building over the last couple of years, we have been in talks with them about what we could do as far as taking those off those buildings, storing those for other uses once we start turning the building new.
Okay.
Is that an option?
Yes.
Okay.
And those units are off-the-shelf units that are ones that are more likely to be used.
What's the timeline? Or when are we expecting to, or when is, I guess 3M would be in charge of?
So once the new rec center is complete.
Okay, that's the agreement in place. Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, Resolution 24-159, authorize the mayor to sign agreement with AlDOT for the Reconnecting Community Grant.
Yes, Alan Stover with the Community Development Department. This is an $18 million 407-688 grant for reconnecting communities to improve the Bill Sims Bike Trail, along with adding some additional trails to connect Old Town to the river.
All right, any questions? All right, Resolution 24-160, authorize the mayor to select AECom for preliminary engineering services for the Reconnecting Community Grant.
Yeah, this is just to select AECom as our preliminary engineering firm to do the work to get the plans together for this trail.
Okay, any questions?
Ellen, how much is that grant?
It's $18,407,000.
I think 2
Engineering,
million, yeah.
Yeah, the preliminary engineering is a little under 2.4.
Okay, I had it mixed up with another grant. Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Thank you.
Resolution 24-161, authorize mayor to sign agreement with DU to upgrade street lighting to LED. Is that you?
Yes, the city received a energy efficiency block grant from the Department of Energy to assist with replacing these, and this is just DU's agreement to do that work.
Okay. Any questions? All right, Resolution 24-162, approved proposal from TTL Incorporated for professional services related to Decatur Materials Recovery Facility expansion. Wanda?
Good evening, Wanda Tyler, Landfill and Recycling. As you know, we're on our way to finishing up the renovations for our MRF. One of the things we have to do is move the loading dock to another location. We hired TTL to do the plans, and they're also going to do some drainage work for us. But this is an agreement to complete the plans, and then after this, I can go out for bid with these plans for the concrete work that needs to be done.
Okay. Any questions? All right, Resolution 24-163, approved purchase of a pickup broom attachment for a rubber tire loader for Decatur Morgan County landfill.
So we have a permit, an air emissions permit that we have to adhere to, and you know the first of this season has been completely dry for us, a pure drought. And as a result, those trucks are, what today will be mud, by sometime next week will be, dust. And so we have decided not to go in the way of a street sweeper, but to get a larger attachment that can go on one of the loaders that we have. And this is a larger broom that can actually clean the streets. And we have a water truck, and then we'll take care of things that way. So we're asking for your approval for this. It's a little over $24,000.
For the attachment?
Yes, it's an attachment.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, Resolution 24-164, approve purchase of a generator for the scale house at the Decatur Morgan County Regional Landfill.
And so the last part, it's we're doing renovations. We just added outbound scales, and the oldest building at the facility is the scale house, which is the first point of contact to the customer and also the last. It's our cash register, so that hub needs to keep it running. And with the storms lately, it's usually we're having a power outage. So this is a Kohler generator that's going to be provided to us with a propane tank. We're asking for your approval.
All right, any questions? All right, boards and committees, reappoint Cedric Williams to the Decatur Housing Authority Board with term expiring August 5th, 2029. No vote.
No vote counts.
Okay.
It'll be his second term.
All right, and then appoint Erica Huber to the Board of Zoning Adjustments supernumerary position with term expiring December 31st, 2027.
And there is a supernumerary position open, which you could ask for our fees.
Yeah. And actually, we'll probably have another opening on BOZA as well. I think we have somebody dropping off, so that would still leave us, if we have somebody drop off, with one vacant position. All right, any questions? All right, our council meeting next week, the work session starts at 5:30. Council meeting will be at 6. We'll go ahead and move into our public comment section. We'll stick with the same format we've had, and I'll just go in order, and Christy Love is first on the list.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please excuse my attire as I'm preparing my classroom for the new school year. This will be my 24th year in education. To get where I am, I earned a bachelor's degree in social psychology where I studied human behavior as impacted by internal and external forces. I then earned my master's in secondary education social sciences, and I've taught many subjects including history, civics, and government, where I encouraged my students to value and fight for their rights. Justice for Steve Perkins. I decided that wasn't enough, as I was aware of the disparities that exist in education to the detriment of more than 80% of the public school population. So I earned an education specialist degree and followed that with a doctorate in curriculum and instruction to be part of the solution. Besides teaching children, I also provide professional development for adults in many sectors. I am a solution-oriented person. And as I saw a post on Facebook for the recruitment of police officers, I commented offering my help to provide professional development to help bridge the gap between the police department and the community. Why did Councilman Pepper laugh? Does he think this is a joke? I guess he feels as foolish of me because I've offered my expertise before. I grew up in Northwest Decatur, 12th Avenue Northwest to be exact. I graduated from Austin High School. This is my city, and I am no joke. You won't find anyone better qualified or anyone who loves this city more. I just want to borrow a quote from the mayor that I read in an article about Lieutenant Jackson. An article that suggests that I am needed as racial biases seem to inform unfair discipline practices. It is difficult to remember a time that I have been as disappointed and disturbed by the actions of a person in an important leadership position.
Christy, Sarah French.
I'm sure y'all have heard and saw the story of Sonia Massey in Springfield, Illinois, a terrible situation and a death that should have never happened. I unfortunately watched the video simply to get a first-hand view of what happened and be able to make my own opinion. Had someone told me that they watched it and the details of it were absolutely non-questionable, then I would never have even watched it, because I'm telling you that is not a video anyone should watch. There is nothing about what happened to that lady that was justified or even possibly justified. The thing it did do to me, though, is relit a fire for here, Decatur City, for justice for Steve and his family. Because our city was not like Springfield, Illinois. They handled theirself up there. They immediately investigated, and the third party immediately investigated, and within 10 days, that officer was in jail for murder and is currently still sitting in jail right now. Their city leaders and police immediately spoke out against this man and what he had done. But our city, most of our city officials didn't do their job and then tried to cover up for their buddies that were in the system. That's the problem right here in Decatur. It's still the problem 10 months out. We still have a mayor that doesn't do his job, and although the third-party investigation is wonderful, the fact that it took 9 months to get started is unexplainable to me. And now we have to wait till January of 2025 for their findings. And we still don't know if at that point When it does come out that the wrongdoings of our police department, how will our city choose to handle it? Because if it's left up to Tab, I'm sure at that point the expectations are very low that he will handle it as it should be. That's why we insist on Todd Pinion being gone. That's why we insist that Tab needs to go, because they have not done their job. And these other cities that have had this happen recently, Mobile, Memphis, Springfield, they did what was right. That's all we ever asked since the beginning of all of this. And we gave ample opportunity for everyone to do so, but Decatur just would not do right, just as for Steve.
I first wanted to ask, were you all able to read the article that David wrote regarding Mr. Jackson's being demoted?
I did.
I think one thing that I realized regarding us and the local officials is that I don't think you all have a fire and a passion to make change in this city. And what I mean by that is that we wake up every day determined to make sure that this city is safe, to make sure that we don't have innocent civilians killed by our police department. It is something that we are determined to make sure and do. And I don't think that is the case for some of you. And the reason being is that you have another example of our leadership, of our mayor demoting a man where he's losing thousands of dollars. And he makes a quote, like Ms. Love said, that states, "It is difficult to remember a time that I have been as disappointed and disturbed by the actions of a person in an important leadership position." He is making quotes like that in our Decatur Daily, in our newspaper, with all of these examples of poor leadership, including him. Why is there no passion or no drive to get him from this seat? I feel like there should be pressure from you all. Pay him out, do whatever is necessary. I don't want to hear anything about it's state law. It can be done. It's been done other places. That's a fact. Why is there no type of drive to get him out of that seat as mayor, and you take the position until we have election, Ladner? Because what's going to happen
If you want to
is
show me how other people have done that, I'm happy to listen.
I will show you. I'll give you the sources, but we also can do the standard. Why do you all have to have an examples? Be the example.
No, because there is no legislative function to do it. Political pressure can work,
Absolutely, it can work,
but
because Joe Biden stepped down.
it
and he's the president of the United
it
States.
can for some people.
It can for you.
Let me finish. Some people with pressure get more, and I'm not speaking to anybody specifically, get more stubborn. And so you have to be careful with things like that. But look, I've said what I've said about the mayor's actions. I've disagreed with a lot of the things he's done. I've said it sitting right up here multiple times to you, I think. He thinks I've done a terrible job as council president. So other than that, where do we go from there? There's got to be some mechanism, and there's not.
There is no way that he is more stronger and intelligent.
That's not what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is that you said he may become, well, you're implying, but if he does get more stubborn, or if that makes him act even more delusional and not want to leave his job, I feel like something has to be done, because within the next year, it's going to keep getting worse. What are y'all going to do when he does something, because he will do something that hold you all accountable, hold you all under the fire, because y'all are a reflection of him.
I understand your point, and
Does that not terrify y'all?
I respect your point.
Does it not make you worried?
Yeah, the problem is we went through this a few council meetings ago.
I think somebody needs to find a solution.
Yeah.
I think it needs to bug y'all until you find a solution.
I would encourage you, I understand you, but I would encourage you to talk to your state officials about mechanisms.
That's going to be done.
But that is, there used to be recall provisions in Alabama. It changed.
Can you talk to them as well?
I have. But the people can help push that. So that's what I would ask.
Have you talked to them specifically for him?
no, but generally about provisions for, because I thought we might have been wrong because people kept coming and saying, no, you can, and we can't. And I've asked them if they've ever, kind of why we went down that road, but anyway, that's what I would encourage. All right, thanks, Anissa. Billy Kennedy.
I was wondering about those complaints that we filed. Several of us hadn't heard anything about those complaints. We want to know what's the hold up on them.
I don't know the answer to that, but it is concerning to me that you haven't heard anything. I have expressed that concern. I do know that that process is being looked at as part of the third-party review. I know they've started that process. I don't know details, but there should be a much quicker process in IA of getting information back to people who file complaints. But I don't know the details of your specific complaint.
All right. A couple of meetings ago, we had two guys from Point Mountain Park over there at the Brookfield. You remember those guys?
I'll probably never forget them. Yeah.
Okay. This man here kind of nudged his eye when my daughter walked in the door. Y'all need to do something about this man. He's getting on my last nerve. He nudged one of those guys and let them know that that was my daughter coming in the door. Okay? So, one of them found her on Facebook, and he's been harassing her about watching where she goes, and the FBI can kill you and won't nobody know about it. What church do you go to? And he's got a lot to do with this stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, fella, you better stay in your place. Okay? They contacted my daughter over 20 times, harassing. And we get tired of it. We hadn't done nothing to nobody. They came to her house and killed her husband and my grandbaby's father. So you need to stay in your spot, fella. I've had enough.
Thanks, Billy. Danny.
So questions, first, does anyone see the disproportionate level of punishment given to Mr. Jackson? Or do you even see it as disproportionate or given to other officers such as Renshaw or Jack Brown or the complaints I made against Abbott? It was seen that those are, well, actually their complaints are worse than his complaints. But his punishment came swift, it was quicker, it was swifter, it was more egregious. But I don't see anyone making any note of it. I don't see, and you probably can't say anything about it because it's a personnel issue and it's appeal coming up. But it was someone at least acknowledge that there is at least disproportionate punishment being given to different city employees based upon the complaints that you have heard.
I will say I'm as Mr. Jackson, not this one, Lieutenant Jackson said in the article, I don't think it's wise of us to comment on that, as he said. So that's all I'll say.
Nice. Okay, so another thing is we've all filed complaints, and you said you were disappointed with the speed in it, that the complaints have come back. Just another example, he was given, the anonymous call came in, the whole process happened very quickly, moving up the chain, going all the way to his punishment, but we can't get answers on if the complaint reached anybody. Herman said a month ago that he hadn't gotten any other complaints, and this is going back for almost a year. So can we at least say something about, or somebody acknowledge, or tell us why, or give us a process of how that we can figure out, or find out how we're gonna find out, or if our complaints even made it past the printer. We'll find out.
Yeah, I will promise this, through the review, that will be fixed. I'll make sure of that.
Gotcha.
There is a policy, I don't think it's being followed. It's my hunch, I don't know, but anyway, it will be fixed.
Gotcha. Another thing, with the third-party review going on, are you guys on board with another third-party review?
No.
Great. And I've heard of stonewalling.
Let me say what I mean in the next one. I think there's been maybe some confusion. I don't know. I've heard a lot of things. Another third-party review, as I think we've mentioned in here, could happen that an insurance company or something may do. That's totally outside. If they want to do that, that's fine. I mean, but that's not anything the council, I would not support another review of anything from the council's purview.
Because it would seem like your credibility would be
right.
at stake. Another question. I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, the stonewalling with the third-party review. I've heard of that they are getting pushback, that they're not getting the things that they're asking.
So I'll say I'm in communication with them regularly, and it's about nothing more than are you getting the information you need. In fact, I had a conversation Thursday along those lines, and I was told they are getting what they need.
And one of the things that we set up, and I'll go back to your first point in a minute. One of the things that we were very clear about, Dan, was that all doors should be open as far as the their investigative powers go. All doors should be open. There should be no restrictions unless by court order. There should be no restrictions as far as how far the investigation can go into our police department and our process. So that was my instruction. That was my understanding. That was where I wanted this thing to go, so that there are no walls, no stone walling, no doors that are going to be closed to this investigation.
I specifically asked on Thursday, are you getting all the information you need? And I was told yes. So, yeah.
Well, thank you.
And as far as your first question goes, I do think that there's disparate treatment with Mr. Jackson. I was clear with that when I was interviewed in the newspaper, that there are more egregious things that go on in our fire department, in my opinion, than the ones that Mr. Jackson is accused of doing. Again, you talk about an anonymous phone call. You guys have made deliberate phone calls stating who you are. They're not anonymous, and we can't get answers, or you can't get answers to those things. But an anonymous phone call is treated with all energy and all. It was responded to almost immediately. And one of the things that was pointed out is that a lot of these things that came about, there were no specific dates when the news article came out. There were no specific dates as to when these things happened. And if it's not documented at that particular time, it didn't happen. And so I do think that there's disparate treatment. I do think that Mr. Jackson is being made an example of. For what reason, I can't say.
And to piggyback on that, I want to say part of, would you guys say that part of the HR policy either is or isn't or should be that there should be a paper trail for wrong or what's the word? Disciplinary actions.
I think that's in every HR policy that's ever happened.
But from my understanding, just to ask the question, from my understanding, his reports, his reviews, all of those things state none of those problems.
That's what it said in the article, but we don't need to get into it.
There will be a hearing
I got
next
you.
month.
You're right.
And he's already, so that all those will be answered, okay? I don't
And all that will be made public, is in a public hearing in a month. So.
I'm actually curious to know something, Herman. So out of curiosity, aren't city employees supposed to be, now this is, I'm going to say this is irrelevant to that situation, so he can comment on it. Aren't city employees supposed to be notified of, aren't they supposed to be given some sort of notice if they're believed to have been doing wrong or doing something wrong? Like, for instance, Mr. Watkins was delivered a notice about his actions that the mayor was concerned about and he corrected those actions. And in the letter that was released to the public, it stated what the problems were and what the issues were, and Mr. Watkins addressed those issues. So in another city employee situation, would that not be the same situation?
Typically, the verbal, I think we can generally say you typically would have a verbal warning, a written warning, then some type of, then it would get into more serious type discipline. But yes, a written warning would be part of a disciplinary procedure.
Doesn't have to be, but it.
Yeah, you can, I mean, actually, we've talked about this. You can, for something more serious, you can skip some of those processes, but typical things need to be everything should be documented in some way.
So I would ask another question, but you can't answer.
Yes. Alvin. Good. All right, you don't have anything else? All right, we are adjourned. No, we're adjourned. Sorry. That's for, look at the date. Look at the date.